Let's do this Tim Pool like exorcist clip. It's not the sexy gay exorcist. It's this other guy. Real exorcist says levitation is real. He's seen it himself. Demons will make people float. Okay. From 11 days ago. I'm excited for this. Eight bits to a byte. That's me being
obviously
stupid.
Beyond like levitation, which you don't see too often, but the morphing, the changing.
The head injuries won't make you levitate. Might make you feel like you're levitating, but you will not levitate.
You will not levitate.
You've witnessed levitation?
Yes, I have. And when you talk about, because, okay, well, let me just make this
Thank you, Volcatronic, for the 5 gifted memberships on YouTube. Now it showed up. Thank you.
observation. People have this idea that, every single day what I'm seeing is what you see in Hollywood, like on the movie The Exorcist and things like that. Have I seen all that stuff? Yeah, I've seen all that stuff. But it doesn't happen only in about 7% of the cases.
Like head spinning around and...
That's a ton. That's a ton of the cases. Like, he tried to, like, sandbag us there by going, like, they think every exorcism is like the movie The Exorcist, but it's actually only like 1/10 of them. That's still a ton. That's still a ton. Like, it's not like a ton in an abstract sense. Like 1/10 of that, of like anything, is not a ton of that thing. But when you're talking about instances of movie quality exorcism of behavior, then that's like a ton. If you show that to me like one time, that'd be a huge amount. Really makes me wonder why there's no like actual video evidence, why they can't take their camera out.
But it doesn't happen only in about 7% of the cases.
Like
7% is very precise.
Oh yeah, changing. Like I said, that's just all part of the morphing thing. The
like
changing
actually
thing.
their
morphing.
head spinning.
No, but
That's Hollywood,
Yeah, that's Hollywood. I mean, the head spinning.
Not like The
I haven't
Exorcism.
seen that. I don't know of any exorcist who's seen that.
So
but
like
I
what
have
then?
seen people's facial structure change. Well, my nickname for him was Charlie Brown, because anytime this demon would manifest, he had a normal facial structure. All of a sudden, boom, it would go complete. His head would look like a beach ball. So this is not something that's normal. And it's not just me seeing this, it's all the people in the room, because we have several people that assist us during the process.
Can we speak to those people at the same time?
Is this
or independently?
the demons messing with your sense of vision when you're in front of something like this? Do you think the face actually...
I don't like this guy on the Tim Pool show. I think he's trying to like encroach upon Tim Pool's like leadership. Just the way that he's dressed and the way he presents himself is too much like the leader of the show, especially when Tim like dresses down. Like, this is not appropriate for like a beta. It's not appropriate for like your show's beta to dress better than you. Like, I think this is, to me, if I were Tim Pool, this guy would get a talking to, but I can't tell him how to run his show. But you wouldn't be out here in a blazer, some kind of like white button up, I don't know. And I'm over there looking like the wet bandit trying to like break into Kevin McAllister's home.
With your sense of vision when you're in front of something like this?
This is my 2 cents.
Do you think the face actually changes shape to some degree? Where does this come from?
Yeah, there's 3 possibilities. If you're talking about something that is beyond the natural physical laws, then one of 3 things is either happening. It's either happening where the light hits, and then it's this is what Aquinas says. When the light hits the person as it's coming towards you, he changes the light as it's passing through the medium to come to you. The other one is they can change it in the actual...
Okay. So he's describing different types of illusion magic. I was confused. Let me go back, because I like stuff like this. I like when the world has a good magic system. So let's back up. I was too distracted by Daniel Radcliffe over here.
So is this the demons messing with your sense of vision when you're in front of something like this? Do you think the face actually changes shape to some degree? Where does this come from?
Yeah, there's 3 possibilities. If you're talking about something that is beyond the natural physical laws, then one of 3 things is either happening. It's either happening where the light hits, and then it's this is what Aquinas says. When the light hits the person as it's coming towards you, he changes the light as it's passing through the medium to come to you.
Okay, so the illusion is either when the light bounces off of the object, between the object in you, the like demon puts up some sort of like, it affects it in the air. Like, that's how vision works, like light reflecting off of objects. Okay, that's pretty cool. How else can it work?
The other one is they can change it in the actual sense faculty. So they're actually changing something. And they can also change it in your imagination because they can affect your imagination.
Okay.
So they're changing it somewhere in that.
That's kind of sick.
The imagination thing,
which would you guys rather be able to do? So it can either like change it like physically in the world. That's what it would be happening if it's like changing it in the medium, like the air as it translates. I mean, as it goes between like the object and your eyes, that would be like changing it in the physical world. Or it can be some kind of like mind control thing, like like it's making your brain like a genjutsu, like right, you could like Tsukuyomi somebody, or it could be like just like you mess with their eyes, like you change the chemistry in their eyes so they see something. I think I would prefer the genjutsu thing. I think it's probably technically more impressive if you can like do something with the light to like change the like water particles in the air to make them see illusions. Like that sounds like some like high level magic, but I think I'm taken by the idea of like mind control in this sense. So I'm going to go with option 3.
I think is really most predominant, because what you'll see is sometimes one person will see something and another person doesn't, or one person will hear something and someone else doesn't.
Okay.
And then that's an indicator that it's probably more on the imaginative side than it is on the senses. So there are different ways in which they can actually cause that. But to get back to this, so that you can't give what you don't have. That's what we're actually looking for. Is there an indicator that this person is there something in them that is beyond human nature, that we call that preternatural, not supernatural, because that pertains to God, but preternatural.
Okay.
The other thing is then those are the primary signs. Then we have what we call secondary signs, and those are the psychological patterns that you'll see with people possessed, which you were talking about, Tim, before, where it's the animus delendi, where every single thing they do maximizes damage to within the capacity to do so.
Did Tim Pool just play a Tim Pool sound effect like accidentally on like his own soundboard and have to turn it off like we do on the Majority Report sometimes? That's crazy. Yeah, no, I don't know what was causing like the camera and stuff to mess up. Probably like the illusion magic. They don't want you to know the truth.
Before, where it's the animus delendi, where every single thing maximizes damage to within the capacity to do so.
Was it EVP?
That's an indicator that there's a diabolic.
Explain that again.
In other words,
maximizes their capacity.
Yeah, there was a particular politician, I won't name who it was, but at one point I'm like, this guy's got to be under diabolic influence, because he was a master at every single thing he did, maximized the damage that he could do to our country within the capacities of his office.
Donald Trump?
And you see this from time to time with people. They're just destructive everywhere they get, and the malicious, right?
I love the phrase diabolic influence.
That you'll see.
That's kind of sick.
Do you think that as atheism rises, is that or that people sort of recede from Christianity, demons are able?
I just can't get over how much the other guy looks like the host now. Like it wouldn't work for me. And maybe I'm like superficial and egotistic, but it just wouldn't work for me the way that guy positions himself as like the host of the show right now.
Rises is that or that people sort of recede from Christianity, demons are able to influence more in this country?
To some degree, but what it really boils down to is that the domain of the diabolic is what's sinful, or what we would say that is contrary to the natural law, or contrary to the way God designed us, which is what you were describing before. Human beings are designed to function a certain way.
This guy's good at it. This guy's good at it. You can tell when someone's like good at like spitting this kind of griff when they have a lot of like clutch phrases, like domain of the diabolic. Like that shit like really tickles the back of your head. Like, oh yeah, like now I'm listening. I'm not understanding, but I'm listening.
God designed us, which is what you were describing before. Human beings are designed to function a certain way. When people act contrary to that through their sinfulness and that type of thing, that actually empowers the demons and opens it, and it becomes because that's their domain, which is the sinful or the disordered. And so anytime we do that, it empowers them.
People are asking, like, is this guy like a priest? I don't know if he's a Christian priest. He's sort of dressed like it, but he hasn't said anything like Christian-y, if you've known. This could just be literally someone describing how like exorcisms work in Jujutsu Kaisen. Has he mentioned Christ except like superficially even once? Like he's way more focused on like manifestations of the devil. Like this this would be perfectly at home in any like anime explanation of like possession. Like he's just like, I can't tell you if he's a real priest. He certainly hasn't said anything like Christy recently.
Which is the sinful or the disordered. And so anytime we do that, it empowers them or opens up the door for their influence in that particular area. So the fact that in the culture we see it just getting worse and worse and worse, and people behaving in ways that are more and more unnatural or irrational even, is an indicator that the sin is slowly overtaking it. And how much diabolic influence is in a particular person's life is ultimately up to God to determine. But that's because even though we can open up the door, it's up to God to determine whether the demons can step across the threshold or not.
How does someone come
Blue
to
Exorcist?
Do they have to be open to it? Do they have to?
A lot of times, actually, are. So there's three possibilities for that open up the door for someone to become possessed. The first is where they do something seriously disordered, like getting involved in the occult or killing somebody or something like that. So that would be one way. And by the way, not everybody who does those things necessarily becomes possessed.
That's good to know.
So they have to do something.
Because that'd be a lot of people. That would be a lot of people.
The second is some serious grave disorder has to be committed against you. So this is one of the things that we see, that a large number of the women that come to us, about 50% of the women come to us, have either been raped, molested, or
here we go.
severely psychologically or physically traumatized. And so that
So I think those women probably need like actual psychological counseling. Not to say that, spiritual counseling can't be, done parallel to psychological counseling, depending on what, you need for healing. But I don't think like implying that they're demonically possessed or make someone more open to demonic possession is appropriate. I think that's a form of like sexual assault survivor shaming. At least maybe I'm that friend that's too woke, but like I don't support that. I don't support that.
Again, the domain of the demonic, and some people say, well, that's just not very fair. On the other hand, those people,
he's talking about domain expansion now?
Possession, become some of the best and most virtuous people I've ever met, through that process. So that it does actually, God does permit it for a function for them. There's a good that he brings out of it. And then the last is purely by the will of God. Now, I've never seen those cases. I've read about them.
God might possess
for example,
you?
There was a nun who was
makes sense.
possessed in Iowa in the 1930s. And at a certain point during the exorcisms, you get the demon to tell you, how did you get in? What was the cause?
God sent me.
And they'll tell you very often. Now, part of the reason you want to know that is because how they got in is a lot of times it tells you how you're going to get them back out. But in this particular case, he said, what sin did she commit? And he said, she didn't commit any sin. Well, then what are you doing here? He said, there's a sin in the region and God wants reparation for it.
Wow.
So the bishop set up where the Catholics just started doing a lot of prayers to make reparation or restitution to God for this sin that was in the region. And then within a week, she was freed.
So what is the most common reason you hear for why the demon entered during this process?
I think a lot of it has to do with the most common thing has to do with the fact that women have been raped or molested in some fashion.
Wow.
And part of that has to do with the fact that people say, well, it sounds to me like most of your cases are women. And I chalk that up to two things. One is that women guys will power through it more and just deal with it. Whereas women are like, I need help.
That's so funny. Women go to the doctor. Men won't even go to the exorcist.
yeah, exactly.
What the hell? So what, like men just power through being demonically possessed more? How does that work? And also, isn't it less about men powering through being demonically possessed? Because you can't power through it. You're demonically possessed. Like the demon is in control of you. Like, so, right? Like, or unless they're saying like, oh no, like men are just built so different that like demon can't even take control. It would be the people around you not noticing or caring that you're demonically possessed, which would say like more negative things about you, right? Like your friends and family, if you have any. This is the male loneliness epidemic. Like people don't have enough friends or family to know that they're demonically possessed or whatever.
Like, I need help.
That's so funny. Women go to the doctor. Men won't even go to the exorcist.
yeah, exactly.
They're like, no, I'm fine.
Bro, he got the jokes too on the show. Tim is gonna get pushed out of his own. Tim is gonna get pushed out of his own show.
Yeah, he's like, I'll be fine in the morning.
Yeah. The other side of it is that women will actually stop and ask for directions.
Yeah.
Like, I got to ask somebody for help because I don't know what to do. I don't know what. So that's why we tend to see a lot of women. But at least for me, I tend to see a lot of that. Whereas other exorcists will see other things. So they'll see like, no, most of it's, I see like one exorcist I know, he said most of the guys that I deal with are men who are because they got involved with pornography or they got involved in certain kinds of things against, the Sixth Commandment or something. So that's usually what you'll see.
Yeah, and that's part of why I want to ask. Because
what's the sixth commandment? I don't know off the top of my head. And also like the porn demons. Wow. So I guess the way he made it sounds like only women get possessed by demons, but there's like a whole separate specialist like that's dealing with Gunnar demons.
The Sixth Commandment or something. So that's usually what you'll see.
Yeah, and that's part of why I want to ask, because just for people in the audience to know the power of some of the things they might be messing around with. I've also heard it said by exorcisms that pornography is a gateway, which makes sense. It's the devil's iconography. It defaces the human form in a very particularly hideous way, and it ensnares people. And so it makes sense to me that would be something that a person could become possessed by.
This guy's definitely a gooner. You can tell that he starts like scratching himself uncomfortably when he starts thinking about pornography. That's how you can tell somebody is just like reminiscing. No, I mean, someone in the chat said it again. This dude is Gunnar and not absolutely big dogging Tim. Like, this is the Tim Pool show or whatever. Pool time with Tim the Pool Man Pay or whatever. I don't remember what the name of that show was or whatever. But like I've seen more of this guy. I've heard more from this guy whose name I don't know. I think Tim is on his way out. No offense.
It defaces the human.
He's going to get kicked off his own compound.
Particularly hideous way, and it ensnares people. And so it makes sense to me that would be something that a person could become possessed by using. And again, it's not to say that everyone who uses it just goes off and becomes possessed.
That's right.
For most people, the problem is like it causes psychological and eventually physical problems for you sexually.
Right.
But there are some number of people it goes further than that.
Yeah, and in relationship to pornography, for example, part of it is, as I mentioned, that the Satanists actually taught the people producing the pornography that if you curse the master copy from which all the other copies are made,
like The Ring,
it will propagate down to the other copies, and it will boost the addictive effect of the pornography. So that's one of the reasons they do it. The other part of it, the other reason.
I know my mouth gets wet a lot when I talk too, but I think you should avoid like slurping audibly into the mic when you're talking about porn like this.
They do it. The other part of it, the other reason that it has the pornography is just because of the addictive aspect of it.
Yeah, see, he's also a gooner. He's talking about porn, stuttering,
it's not
stumbling
always
over his
that
words.
people actually have done something wrong is why they're possessed. Although once the demon gets in, then he starts driving the really bad behavior. And so that's one of the reasons why I think this is a theory. This is one of my theories, is why you'll have women who actually, once they've had an abortion, all of a sudden that's when you see the real license in relationship to sexual matters really take off in their life. Because they're all of a sudden
this guy's one move is like misogyny. Like they can be talking about like men getting addicted to pornography, and he immediately like pivots back to something wrong that he thinks women are doing. Like that guy was like, okay, so like pornography, it's inviting demonic spirits into you because it's like idolatry or whatever, defaming the human form, which only God is allowed. I don't know, whatever Christian shit he was saying. And now he's on to abortions. This guy has one move.
To sexual matters really take off in their life, because all of a sudden there's a more of a diabolic influence. I'm not suggesting they're possessed, but there's a more of a diabolic influence.
Well, yeah, 100%.
So when you
are you gonna let Tim talk now? Is Tim gonna be allowed to talk on the show? I mean, I can't blame them for not panning back over to him when he's dressed like this. I mean, the other guy looks more professional. Like you want to see him ask the question. They pan over to Tim, and Tim looks like he's, I don't know, just finished putting together some IKEA furniture, like off of a Fiverr job or something. No offense. I think it's fine to dress however you want. I just don't think it's fine to get like big dogged on your own show. Like, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I have a lot of like aesthetic issues with like the Tim Pool show, like how it's not named with like a pool pun. But that's again just me being a juvenile. But yeah, no, despite all the misogyny, the priest, good. A lot of good content there. We'll be looking more into his demonic possession stories because he seems like he is willing to lie and say things interesting happened as opposed to just doing that whole like, yeah, they may be spoken some like, Latin or Hebrew or something. And I don't think they knew that, but who's to say? So yeah, he's fun. He's not as fun as like Sexy Lucifer priest, but like maybe we can get them together and have like a cap off.